It would be devastating if we lost that ruling.
But before the Supreme Court issues a ruling, it could be several weeks, are you going to lay out any new additional tariffs before
I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to hope that we win. I can't imagine that anybody would do that kind of devastation to our country. You know, we'd have to pay back trillions of dollars. We've taken in trillions. We haven't taken in billions. We've taken in trillions of dollars.
Welcome back to 45th Perspective, the channel where we cut through the noise, look at the facts, and talk about what's really happening in America today. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode. And if you've been following our work and want to help us keep these conversations going, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/45thperspective for as little as $5 a month. Every bit helps us stay independent, unfiltered, and fully focused on bringing you the truth that the mainstream media won't touch.
We've made trade deals based on that give us, as an example, European Union, $950 billion, Japan, $650 billion, South Korea, $350 billion. Without this, we're not talking about that kind of money. And they're okay, they're satisfied, they love us. I just left. They all love us. So it's not like we're such bad people, but they were doing it to us until I came along. Now they don't do it to us, we do it to them a little bit. But if they took this away, we would be defenseless against tariffs from other countries.
Now, today we're reacting to a very important video that's making waves across the political landscape. Former President Donald Trump recently spoke about the Supreme Court and his tariffs, specifically warning that if the court were to rule against him, the United States could be forced to pay back trillions of dollars. You heard that right, trillions, not billions. And if you've been paying attention, you know this isn't just about trade policy. It's about America's economic sovereignty, our national security, and the global leverage that comes with being the world's largest economy. Let's set the stage a little. The issue centers around the tariffs that President Trump imposed during his time in office. Tariffs on steel, aluminum, and a range of goods from China, Europe, and other trading partners. These tariffs weren't random. They were designed to correct decades of unfair trade deals that hollowed out American manufacturing, shipped millions of jobs overseas, and made us dependent on foreign countries for products we used to make ourselves. For the first time in a long time, we had a president who said, "Enough is enough. America first." Now the Supreme Court might have to weigh in on whether those tariffs were constitutional, whether the executive branch actually had the authority to impose them in the way Trump did. And Trump's warning is clear. If the court rules against him, the economic fallout would be massive. The United States could be forced to refund trillions of dollars in collected tariffs. And that's not an exaggeration. That's a figure that could rock our economy, shake our trade relationships, and even undermine our national security. So let's talk about what Trump actually said. He said, "I think it would be devastating if we lost that ruling. Before the Supreme Court issues a ruling, it could be several weeks. I can't imagine anybody would do that kind of devastation to our country. We'd have to pay back trillions of dollars. We've taken in trillions, not billions. We've made trade deals based on that. $950 billion with the EU, $650 billion with Japan, $350 billion with South Korea. Without this, we're not talking about that kind of money. And they're okay with it. They love us. But if they took this away, we would be defenseless against tariffs from other countries." That statement sums up the entire issue in one go. This isn't just about money, it's about leverage. It's about the balance of power in global trade. When Trump imposed tariffs, he didn't do it to punish our allies or create chaos. He did it because for decades, the United States had been on the losing end of trade deals written by bureaucrats who cared more about global approval than American prosperity. Every administration before him, Republican and Democrat alike, talked about fair trade, but Trump was the first one to actually do something about it. He was willing to take the heat from the media, the economists, and the so-called experts who said tariffs would destroy us. But instead, we saw something remarkable. Jobs started coming back, factories reopened, and America's manufacturing base began to stir again. Now, let's imagine for a second what would happen if the Supreme Court rules against those tariffs. Trump said we'd have to pay back trillions, and he's not wrong. Think about all the money that's come into our treasury through those tariffs since 2018. That's money that's helped fund infrastructure, rebuild communities, and support programs without raising taxes. It's money that came from other countries paying for the privilege of selling to our market. If that gets reversed, that money doesn't just vanish, it becomes a debt. And who pays that debt? You and me, the American taxpayer. This is what frustrates so many patriots across the country. It's not just about Trump, it's about the principle. Every time America tries to stand up for itself, some part of the establishment, whether it's the courts, the media, or the global elite, steps in to try and drag us back down. They call it free trade, but what they really mean is one-sided trade, where we give and others take. And now, once again, there's a risk that our own system will undo one of the few policies that actually worked for the working class. And here's the thing. When Trump talks about those trade deals, the $950 billion with the European Union, the $650 billion with Japan, the $350 billion with South Korea, he's not exaggerating. Those numbers represent real leverage. They show how America used tariffs as a tool to bring other nations to the table. Before Trump, the U.S. was constantly playing defense, trying to appease everyone. But under Trump, for the first time, we were playing offense. We said, if you want access to our markets, then you have to play fair. That's the kind of message that made world leaders respect America again, even if they didn't like it. You can hear it in his tone during that clip. He's not just talking about economics, he's talking about pride, about sovereignty, about standing up for our nation's interests. That's what made his trade policies resonate with millions of Americans. For too long, our politicians acted like America had to apologize for being successful. Trump flipped that script and said, "We don't apologize, we lead." And that's why this potential Supreme Court ruling matters so much. Because if the court overturns his tariffs, it won't just be about trade. It'll be about whether the executive branch has the power to defend America economically when Congress refuses to act. Let's talk about that constitutional angle for a minute. The president, under the Constitution and under laws like Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, does have authority to impose tariffs if it's in the interest of national security. And that's exactly what Trump did. He said that our reliance on foreign steel and aluminum was a national security threat. He wasn't wrong. If you can't produce your own steel, how do you build tanks, ships, planes, or even bridges? The global supply chain might look efficient on paper, but when a crisis hits, it becomes a chokehold. We saw that during COVID when countries started hoarding supplies. Imagine if that happened with steel or microchips during a military standoff. Trump understood that economic security is national security. At 45th Perspective, we're not here to cheer for parties. We're here to stand up for principles. Freedom, sovereignty, and accountability. Whether you love Trump or not, his policies on trade were one of the few things that genuinely put America back in the driver's seat. And if the Supreme Court undoes that progress, it won't just be his loss. It'll be ours as a nation. So before you click away, remember this. Everything Trump warned about in that short clip isn't just speculation. It's a warning backed by economic reality. We've taken in trillions because America finally played hardball. We made countries respect our markets again. Losing that leverage would make us defenseless, not just in trade, but in every negotiation moving forward. That's the truth they don't want you to hear. That's why you're here, because you want the facts, not the filtered narrative. And that's what we'll keep giving you. If you found this video informative, make sure you hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to understand what's really at stake. Don't forget to subscribe to 45th Perspective and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. And again, if you want to help us keep this show going, you can support us directly on Patreon at patreon.com/45th Perspective. Your support keeps us free, independent, and unafraid to speak the truth. Until next time, stay informed, stay strong, and always put America first.